श्रीवार्तकः केशवः पाराशर्यभचः सरोजमलम् गीतार्थगन्धोत्कटम् नानाख्यानकेसरम् हरिकथा सम्बोधनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरः पेरीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमलप्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैः स्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः। अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः सञ्जय उवाच तं तथा कृपयाविष्टम् अश्रुपूर्णाकुलेक्षणम् विषीदन्तमिदं वाक्यम् उवाच मधुसूदनः श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन क्लैव्यं मास्मगमः पार्थ नैतत्त्वय्युपपद्यते क्षुद्रं हृदय दौर्बल्यम् त्यक्तोत्तिष्ठ परन्तप। अर्जुन उवाच कथं भीष्ममहं संख्ये द्रोणं च मधुसूदन इषुभिः प्रतियोत्स्यामि पूजार्हा वरिसूदन गुरुन् हत्वा हि महानुभावान् श्रेयो भोक्तुं भैक्षमपीह लोके हत्वार्थकामांस्तु गुरूनिहैव भुञ्जीय भोगान् रुधिरप्रदिग्धान् न चैतद्विद्मः कतरन्नो गरीयः यद्वा जयेम यदि वा नो जयेयुः यानेव हत्वा न जिजीविषामः तेव स्थिताः प्रमुखे धार्तराष्ट्राः कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् न हि प्रपश्याम्यहं पश्यामि ममापनुद्यात् यच्छोकमुच्छोषणमिन्द्रियाणाम् अवाप्य भूमासस्वपत्नवृद्धम् राज्यं सुराणामपि चाधिपत्यम् सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वा ऋषिकेशम् गुडाकेशः परन्तपः न योऽस्य इति गोविन्दम् उक्त्वा तूष्णीं बभूवः तमुवाच ऋषिकेशः प्रहसन्निव भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये विषीदन्तमिदं वचः श्रीभगवानुवाच अशोचानन्वशोचस्वम् प्रज्ञावादांश्च भाषसे गतासूनगतासूंश्च नानुशोचन्ति पण्डिताः न त्वेवाहं जातु नासम् न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः न चैव न भविष्यामः सर्वे वयमतः परम् देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः आगमापायिनो नित्यः तां तितिक्षस्व भारत यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ समदुःखसुखं धीरम् सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते नासतो विद्यते भावः नाभावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ता शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्माद्युध्यस्व भारत य एनं वेत्ति हन्तारम् यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तौ न विजानीतः नायं हन्ति न हन्यते न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणः न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु the subject of doers and don'ters. This is a very tricky thing. It's not easy to understand. And that's why it's something that will keep, this is something which the scaffolding has been laid here through the verse which occurs in the Kathopanishad, and then it will keep on being built. So the point I'm trying to make is that even if it is not clear right now, it's okay. How come I'm not the doer? If I'm not the doer, who is sitting in the class? If I'm not the doer, who is listening? Who is taking notes? If I'm not the doer, this is very problematic. Then am I the done in? No, that also is not. Then what am I? That is what the whole thing is. The doer, thinker, eater, hearer, everything is a role that emerges or is associated with aham, I. That aham, I, is, while it is free of all the roles stick to the aham because the roles don't have any being without the I. That's all. It's very simple really. It's not difficult. The role depends upon the person. Without the person there is no role. Unless you're talking of R-O-L-L, then you can roll with it. But if you're talking of R-O-L-E, role, it has to be inhabited by something. And that which inhabits the roles is free of the roles. That's all we are trying to say, very easy. But when we look at it from the point of view of the role is not free of the person. Because how will the role? The role has to have something. The role has to have somebody inhabiting it. And as we saw in that example of the actor, hero, zero, villain, etc., same actor, in different movies has different roles, same fellow, without undergoing any change. Maybe one mustache and maybe one bad face he makes, but without undergoing any change, the same fellow inhabits many roles. And even in one's life, one inhabits many roles. Son, daughter, first role. Even before one assumes the role, the baby doesn't think, should I become son or daughter? Lying in the cradle. Already there are two people who say, this is mine, you belong to me. I'm your mother, I'm your father. They're telling this one that has not even opened its eyes for 24 hours. Already the roles are already there. One is born into this role, son or daughter. And then if one has an elder sibling, namaha, one is already born to be pinched and tormented, because the elder sibling is not going to like this newcomer very quickly. Yes, but that sibling is already there. Because there is sibling jealousy, sibling rivalry. It's all dependent upon the role. And then one grows up, kindergartner, that's a role. That same Atma is going to kindergarten. And then, first grade, second grade, third, same Atma. And then what? Another role. Got a job, finished college, graduate, that's a role. And then got a job. That's also a role. Employee, it's a role. And then they're always relational. There is somebody sitting on the other side, employer. Son, daughter, mother, father, and like this. And then marriage, spouse, one more new role, difficult role, lifelong role. Not easy. And then what? Then mother, father again. Who is inhabiting all the roles? Are there different people? That's all this verse is trying to say. It's the same I that is inhabiting all the roles, and the I naturally has to be free of all the roles in order to perform all the roles. The same, in a family reunion, the same son relates to the mother differently and fathers differently. Same son. Because he knows, if I just go ask money, she will give, not him, Mother will give. Father is generally tend to be strict. They'll say, when did you last earn anything? What have you done? other than be a burden in this family and a moocher. You've just been a moocher. What are you doing? Mother will give. See, the same son knows how to deploy himself in relation to the father. So he's a different son of the father and he's a different son of the mother. See, even in that one role there is a difference. And the same son with regard to the son to the father, but with his own son or daughter, he is father. Same fellow. So in a family reunion, he'll be sitting right there with his father, and his own child will come along and he doesn't feel any problem. He doesn't say, excuse me when I go to the changing room and I'll change into the father and come. Or you, poof, disappear, he'll tell the father because now I have to relate to my child. No. Why father on one side, his own child on the other side, he has no problem relating to that. In fact, those are enjoyable because these roles are simultaneously performed without any problem, generally speaking. And that itself shows that the I that inhabits, that's why the word inhabit starts with. See, that's the point we are trying to make. English is so wonderful. So the I that inhabits each and every role is the same I, but it just dusts itself off and goes to the next role. That's what it is. It's not afflicted. And so, along with mother, father, sister, brother, employer, employee, friend, neighbor, you add a few other roles that are more subtle. These other roles which we just talked about, the first kinds of roles, namely the relational roles, are very easy to delineate and see that inner space. Mother, father, yes, I am myself and I am also a son, daughter in relation to them. That I is not affected except when I go home for the holidays. Then one becomes, the thumb sucking stage, no matter how old one is, that's what happens. Because there is some hangover that we'll talk about later. There's lots of time, 18 chapters. But for now, barring some affliction, generally speaking, in these relational roles, there is always the possibility of inner space that is there, that it is easy to come back to that inner space. Here we are talking of roles that are subtle, and the roles that get are the result of certain morphing happening in the mind, not necessarily an interdependent role with regard to another person. With regard to another person, it's very easy. I am sister, brother, mother, father, son, daughter, whatever it is. But then I am that I who is mother, who is father, who is, son, daughter, simultaneously. It's very easy to see that because there are other people involved. And then you just forget about them and okay, this is what is there. Even for a minute you can see that the same I, and that's why people say, I don't know what happens to me when I go home to the holidays. I become 3 years old. I don't know what happens. That's why you're able to tell, because already there is that inner space. Even though it appears lost, you can come back quickly. That's why the possibility to change the ticket and come back early is always there. And so this is basically what we are talking of. In the first kind of roles, there is inner space, which is easy. In the second kinds of roles, in fact, all roles are the same from the standpoint of the Gita, but I'm making this separation to just drive the point that why is it easier with regard to other people. Because here there are subtle roles, the morphing of the vritti, the mental frame undergoes certain very subtle shifts. There is nobody outside. Doer. Who is outside? Putting a stick on the head, do. No. Myself, I cannot sit quietly, I keep doing. Oh, is there someone holding a stick from inside? Well, that's the inner morphing. There is an inner change that takes place from the standpoint of the mental frame with regard to I, that I has as though that morphing is not real, because the same I becomes doer, and then in sleep the same I becomes non-doer. How is that possible? It seems contradictory. If I is really the doer, it should be keeping on doing something or the other all the time. So then, how did it become non-doer? Well, that's because the doer is a superimposition upon this I, and as though morphing, which does not make that I undergo any change. Just like when we say there is pollution, you look outside and say, if you are living in New York, Los Angeles, some places like that, you look outside and say, so much pollution. Look at the smog. And where do you see the smog? In space. Right? So is space polluted? Can space ever get polluted? No. Space cannot get polluted. Space is free of pollution. So what is polluted? Atmosphere is polluted. But what do I say? Space, look at that. Look at the horizon. It's polluted. That is what is like the superimposition. Just like when you say blue sky, it's a superimposition. It's not blue. It's some trick. It is a aropa. It's a superimposition of certain molecular, atmospheric, certain things that gives it that color when you look at it. When dogs look at the sky, they don't see blue sky. Yeah, dogs see everything in white and black and grey. We are told, we don't know. And we are not sure. We are told that. That is what the scientists have said. And they say that cats can see color, but they are too lazy, they don't bother. They don't care. They can see sepia, they can see color, they can see, what is that other setting, antique, and they can see so many different things, but they don't care. They're just, busy doing other things. So as long as they can get by, they don't care. So just like the blue sky is the color blue is superimposed upon the sky, this is scientifically proven. In the same way, the role of doer, thinker, eater, drinker, do no gooder, all these, good for nothinger, all these things are superimposed upon this aham, I. And the I is like space, pure and free of all afflictions and all superimpositions. And this is what it means to be a non-doer. This is what we have to understand. And if it is not clear, it doesn't matter, it will get clear as time goes by. So now, in this next verse, what is this? This is a continuation of the, well, it will help if I'm on the right page. Here we go, yeah. So it's a continuation of the mantra quoted in another mantra of the Kathopanishad, which Bhagavan quotes in connection to seeing the Veda as an infallible, that it has something infallible to say, and that which it says is of use to me and it will help me. This is what the Veda is trying to, this is what is called Veda as a means of knowledge. So here the means of knowledge is being exercised by Bhagavan to show how the Veda works and why. And let's not forget the Prakritam topic, the topic under discussion. And the topic under discussion is no shoka, no moha. What is shoka?
Sorrow.
Any kind of shock that leads to sorrow. What is moha? Delusion with regard to oneself, delusion with regard to this universe, delusion with regard to, if there is one, the creator of the universe as well. So wrong assumptions is called moha, and sorrow is called shoka. So this is shoka moha, this is the topic is shoka moha, and then these two, shoka nivritti and moha nivritti. Nivritti means the removal of sorrow and the removal of confusion and delusion are this two-pronged purpose. This is a two-pronged purpose, twofold purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. So that is the topic under discussion, where Arjuna suddenly felt weak. And when one feels weak, what to do? You have to have some what is that, vitamin smoothie. And if that doesn't work, read the Bhagavad Gita. That's if one is still feeling weak and there is no physical cause. Physical causes have first to be taken care of. They're all being taken care of. The body has trotted off to the doctor and come back, and the body is, on more vitamins than its weight. And so then, then the body is feeling fine. The body is not the problem. Then still somehow there is a listlessness, a restlessness, then other factors have to be seen. So perhaps it is shoka or moha. And so then this one is like a vitamin. The Bhagavad Gita is a protein shake for the mind. A shake for shoka. Shoka shake. Yeah, so this is what it is. So here, in the same vein, to show that the I never comes to an end. Body can come to an end. In fact, if it doesn't come to an end, it's problematic. There is a story in the Puranas that, the human, God, Bhagavan gave human being 100 years and then to live. And then the human beings were very upset. What? 100 years go by like that? How can you do this to us? Look at the celestials, all the angels and all these fellows. They live for thousands of years and we only get to live 100. And then, the celestials felt sorry. Because Bhagavan said, Bhagavan shrugged the shoulders and said, I've already given this age, I can't do anything. The celestials said, each of us will give little, portion of our years and add it to yours and make it 300. How's that? Oh, that's much better. Thank you. 300 sounds much, better, because look at the list of things I have to do. That is more than the room needed for the Vedas. Vedas are huge, Vedas will take up this whole block and more. There will be a few more books. Where shall we keep? We'll be asking. Vedas are huge. And it's a huge compendium of all kinds of prayers, for all the first portion of the Veda. Huge compendium of prayers for various wish fulfillment, holy wishes. And so this is the problem. This is what the whole thing is. And therefore what is going to happen now, we just need, because so many things are given and so many nice looking pastimes are given, and we need time. Each one has a list bigger than the Vedas. There are so many things I have to do. You ask anybody, are you ready to go now? Lord Yama is at the door. Ding ding. Rang the bell. Who is Lord Yama? You know Lord Yama? Lord Yama is the minion, the presiding deity of death. Yeah. Ding ding. Knock knock. Who is there? Yama who? Yamaha. Yama in the form of Yamaha. Yeah. Those are dangerous vehicles. That's why they are called Yamaha. They are sent down by Lord Yamaha. They are totally sent down. They have his stamp on it. They have his name on it. So, and in India, another motorcycle has got another name, Rajaduta, Yama Rajaduta, the minions, the messengers of Yama. This is what it is. So knock knock, Yamaha waiting at the door, and and then who will be ready to go? If supposing there's a room full of people and someone says somebody has to go, who? Raise your hands, and people you will cut off their hands before, even if it accidentally raises. We had one fundraiser for the goddess, few years back. And then we had a lady from Colorado who was very good at what she did. She came and she said she will, be the person who will help people raise the money. And then people, they didn't know anybody, they didn't know us, they didn't know me, they didn't know what goddess. And here's this sleepy Eugene town, and here we are saying, give lots of money, we'll, for this wonderful temple, and for the shrine, we'll build the shrine. And of course, they're not, ready to give anything because they don't know what this is all about. Lot of people had come. We were sitting in this hall. Some of you were here, and then this lady, this fundraiser, she just would say, "Oh, she would say, who's going to pledge $5,000? Oh, the gentleman in the back, he's raising his hands." And he would say, "No, I'm just scratching my head. I'm not raising the hand. I'm just trying to scratch my head." "Oh, that's too bad. I just put you down for $5,000. So like this, everybody will be afraid that lest I raise my hand to even scratch the head, they would rather cut the hand off lest it be accidentally raised. Who wants to go to Lord Yama? No one. No one in their right mind. And even if we have a story in India that the old Plutasvara, old great grandma was just always complaining. My knees are gone, my hair is gone, my head always hurts, everything rattles, and everything is coming loose. Muscles are loose, skin is loose, organs are just barely in place. Everything is just, skin and bones. And everything hurts. All people younger to me are dying. Why have you kept me, oh cruel Yama? Take me now." And Yama happened to be in the neighborhood. And Yama said, "Oh, it's not quite her time, but poor thing, she's praying to me so nicely." And also for me, it will be nice because I can spare myself another trip. In one trip, two in the place of one, no problem, And Yummy will be happy because I'll have saved Yummy as his wife. So, we can even perhaps, if this continues, and Yama also starts dreaming, if this continues, perhaps I can have a holiday. When have we taken a holiday? People are dying everywhere all the time. At least, maybe we can have a holiday if this 2-in-1 is good. Ding ding, here I am, Grandma. Come along, let's go. And she says, "You inauspicious idiot. I was just saying something just like that. You should just think that this is the old lady's rambling. You should not really come. Idiot. Don't show me your face. Go." But you don't have that long. Come on, you're 98. She says, "I don't care. I need to live to see my great grandchild being born this September." And Yama is very obliging. "Oh, that's only 2 months away. No problem, Grammy. Have a good time. I'll just go come back. Not to worry." She says, "Don't show your face." And then the baby is born, and they make a big deal, and they take a photo of 5 generations, her holding the baby, everything is fine, the baby is named, everything. And then again he comes. "Come on, let's go now." "No, are you out of your mind? I want to see the baby have its first solid food ceremony," because there is a nice ceremony where the rice and milk and jaggery is fed to the baby ritually, because until then it's all mother's milk. So this is the first time it's being fed rice. And Yama says, "Oh, humankind. Anyway, I'll be back. When is this?" And he makes a note of the date. Where is this taking place? Because he wants to come right there. He wants to put it on his calendar. He says, "I'm not going to tell you where. You already took out when." He says, "Don't worry, I'll just put a man on it. Not to worry." So then, at the baby naming ceremony, suddenly she's breathless, not naming, that solid food ceremony, suddenly she's breathless, and then she looks out of the window. "Come along, Grams, you idiot," she says. "I want to watch it go to kindergarten." He says, "That's a long way away." "No, you have to let me do this." And then she says, "Okay." He says, "This is the last time. This is the 3rd time you've extended, no more." And she just, throws a rock on the window. She's just so unhappy. She throws whatever is in the house at him. He just dodges and runs away. And then the child, goes to school. We also have a ceremony where it's writes all these things at age 3 or something. It writes in the rice. It's made to inscribe the alphabet in the rice. And that time he doesn't wave from the window. He's breathing down her neck. Come on, let's go. She's running out of excuses. She said, let me at least finish the rest of the chocolate cake that I have at home. There are 3 more slices left. This is what it is. Nobody wants to go. Why? Because the fear is that this is me coming to an end. And what is this me? This ensemble called the body, mind, sense complex. It's a complex issue. That I consider it to be me is a complex issue. That I identify with it is a complex issue, because there is a one-way identification. You cannot, put the body on higher. I'm not the body, somebody should take care of it. Nobody will take care of it. You have to take care of it. You cannot say the mind is also to let, somebody else take care of what I need to do, make the decisions for me. That's not going to happen. You have to make the decisions for you. You have to take care of the body. You have to take care of the mind. You have to take care of the senses. In a way, you are the trustee of this body. Because you can't expect somebody else to know when you're hungry. It's okay when you're 6 months old, you cannot say anything. Still the baby cries and shows something. Tries to express itself. So you have to take care of the body. Body is I, definitely, but I transcends this body. Body is me, because everything is this I, as the Gita shows. All things have their being. Sat, in this I alone. Is. Sat means is. And the first letter of the word is I. See? So convenient. The truth of this is I. Everything is I. Nothing is separate from this I. Like even the clay is not separate from the pot. You'll never find a pot without a substance, whether it's clay or copper or silver, gold, whatever it is. You cannot even imagine a pot without a substance. You cannot imagine a shirt without some substance. If it's a nylon shirt, it's called a raincoat. If it's a newspaper shirt, what is it called? A statement. Yeah. A fashion statement. Somebody I saw once, they had a shirt made of, not exactly, but it was fabric with newsprint on it. New York Times. Yeah. So it's a statement. And if it's a rubber shirt, it's called a wetsuit. Correct? Wetsuit. Yeah. And with some anti-shark spray on it. And then if it is a shirt made of fabric, we know this, it's our regular shirt. Shirt and fabric is not the same as, water and aqua. They are not synonyms. Water and aqua are synonyms. So therefore, if you say one, it's enough. But here shirt and fabric are not the same, they're not equal. Like water is equal to aqua. Shirt and fabric, one is the cause, one is the manifestation of that cause in the form of the effect. One is the effect, but what kind of an effect? An effect in which the cause inheres. It's inherent in the cause, the effect. So effect is this shirt, but the effect, the shirt, is never away from the fabric. So the effect, the shirt, is never far away from the fabric. Correct? Because it's not that the shirt is sitting in this room, and the fabric has gone out shopping. Never happens. The fabric is in the store, in a bolt, and then what? And you are wearing the shirt. Not possible. So this way, that is how the I is. The I is, in a way, we can say, the fabric of the entire universe. Everything is I alone. It's all about you. You are the star in what we call Vedanta. Yes, you. That's all it is all about. You. Oh, it's about me? Yes, it's about you. Oh, that's nice. Yes, that's what we are also saying. It is very nice. It's all about you. The whole thing is you. That's what we do day after day. We just study about I. That's all. But what is there so much to say about the I? Because, when I try to sit and explain to myself this I get very frustrated because everything that I see about I don't like very much. That's why I'd rather not think about the I. I'd rather think about other things. What else is there if it's not I? Not I. I'd rather think about the not I. Like table, not I. Chair, not I. Clock, not I. Other bodies in the room, not I. I'd rather, become completely focused on that. Because if I sit with the I, all kinds of horrible bubbles of doubt and despair come. Yes, we agree. We agree with that. There is one mud bubble somewhere. There is a swamp in Georgia. So what is its name? Fenoki. Oh. Not Oki, really. And not okay. Oki. And this Fenoki swamp, people go once a year to see on. There is a certain 3 or 4 days from inside all these mud bubbles come up. Yeah, this mud bubble, there are photos of it as well. Sludge bubbles, mud bubbles. And this is what happens if I sit and try to think of the I. All this is bubbles of guilt, bubbles of hurt, bubbles of despair. As a result, suddenly I don't feel very bubbly. And then what? I want to lose myself out of this I. I don't want to lose myself in this I because this I is intolerable. Yes, we agree that that's how it appears. But what one finds intolerable, says Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, is not really the I. Is a lot of things that have glommed on, as it were, to the I, because I don't know the I. Since I don't know the I have taken a lot of not I things to be I, like shoka, moha, despair, fear, sorrow, all these, guilt, hurt, etc. I have attracted like a magnet. These are the iron filings that have come and just, stuck to me, as it were. And they have become identified with this I, so much so that I cannot stand being who I am. And I devise new ways of forgetting myself through music, through activities, through all kinds of, what's the word for it, all kinds of new things that I coin. I want to forget. I don't want to remember. I don't like who I am. That is why we need the Shastra, the teachings, because the teachings reveal the truth of this I, which is in keeping with everyone's spiritual fantasy. What is the universal spiritual fantasy, if there is one? All this oneness, big group, Jagat hug, everything, everybody getting along. This is what is the fantasy of all religions. Lion and lamb sitting together, not one inside the other, sitting side by side. And lamb is not afraid of lion, no fear. A place of no tears, a place of no fear. Everyone, why can't everyone get along, Why can't everyone just be one? Well, the Bhagavad Gita takes us a step further into showing that in fact everything is just one. And that one happens to be you. You are that one. Oh, I'm that one? Oh, suddenly I don't feel so bad. That's exactly what it is. Then how come I don't know it? That's actually a very good question to ask. I don't know it because I haven't heard it. Because I don't know, like so many things I don't know, this also I don't know. And if I don't know that snake is a snake, I'll mistake it for a rope and pick it up also. Yeah, this is the Vedantins' mistake. Yeah, because they have heard rope snake, rope snake, rope snake. And when they see the real snake, what do they say? Rope. Yeah. Oh, then also they are not convinced. This is a biting rope. It's a venomous rope. Cobra. Cobra rope. Rattle rope. That is the version here. Here they don't have cobra, I don't think. I don't think cobras can survive American climate. No. They like only India. Yeah. And so so even when the Vedanta student has heard snake rope so much that all they see is only rope. And when the snake bites, they say, oh, this is a very bad rope. It's got big fangs. This rope I have to look it up, what kind of rope this is. Yeah. So this is the mistake. Just like mistaking, when I mistake the rope for the snake, what happens? Fear ensues. And similarly, when I mistake the eye for what it is not, fear and sorrow ensue. These emotions, no matter how constant they may appear, fear, sorrow, delusion, ignorance, etc., all these various, the feeling I'm not good enough, all these things, self-criticism, self-judgment, self-non-acceptance, all these have just one thing to say. They are just various morphings of this original self-ignorance. That's all it is. Perhaps this is what we call original sin in the Bible. That's all it can be. That I don't know myself. This is what is called self-ignorance. And this self-ignorance is corrected through a vision that is in keeping with the universal spiritual fantasy of all beings, all religions. It transcends religion. This is not about religion. This is about the truth of you. That's what it is. Vedanta begins when religions give up and end. That is the starting point of this body of knowledge. And that is why it has something to say that I need to sit up and listen. And here it says, Na jayate namriyate va kadachit. What? I. The I. Ayam Atma. This I, that which is under discussion here, is never born. Oh, but I just had a birthday. Yeah. What was born? What is born? Body is born. That's why I said many happy returns. And the ignorant jiva is assuming the body, as the ignorant one who is assuming the body, that body is born. That body which is assumed is born. Na jayate. There is no birth for the I. Oh, I is not born. Then it must be what? If it's not born, what is it? Dead. Oh, I didn't know I was dead. Am I dead? How? No. If I pinch myself, I'm making a noise. So therefore, I'm not dead. You don't need that. I know I am. So that means if I'm not born and I still am, that means what? I'm not dead either. Na jayate. I wasn't dead before. He's going to point this out. And I'm not going to be dead again. Namriyate. When? Kadachit. At any time. At any time I'm not born. At any time I don't die. This is a big, tall claim. Tall claim to make. What do you mean I'm not born? I was born. I'm this many years old. And before that I was not there. Look at all the family photograph. Only the parents are there. I'm not there. Then suddenly I came along. Then I see this. And then, now I am here. And then I may have a certain lifespan for a certain number of years. And then after that, you know who is waving from the window. Who?
Yum.
Ah. Yum, yum. And then, and then what? Gone, I am gone. Body is gone, I am gone. Body is here, I am here. This is the mistake. The identification with the body is the mistake. But then what else should I identify if I shouldn't identify with the body? Should with the mind? No. But what should I identify with then? The one who is observing everything, including this body. If we sit quietly, the body can be an object of one's observation. One can sit quietly. How is the body doing today? Oh, don't even go there. That's the mind. I didn't ask you right now. How is the body doing? I'm going to watch. And then, the mind says, all right, I will help you scan the body. So you have to bring the mind also under the sway of the observer and tell the mind to help scan the body. And the mind will report, the vertebrae in the neck, is hurting. Lumbar, L5, not nice. Looks like it's being pressing down on something. Big toe, where is it? Can't feel it. Numb. And then what? Left hand, right hand, stomach, oh, some rumble. Yesterday rumble, today grumble, because I over-attended to the rumble. Way too much. So from rumble to grumble, only the G, that's all. Yeah, only one G you have to put. G for greed. That's all. Yes, not need, greed. And so that G comes from rumble, rumble in the tummy to grumbling tummy. And so this is the witness that is observing. So then you can make this a finer observation. The mind is just chafing now. I have done everything to the body. When is my turn? When is my turn? It's coming. Wait. All right, how are you doing? Well, don't even ask. You know what happened yesterday? All those things that have happened yesterday have put me in a terrible mood. And you, the observer, can say, oh, you poor thing. Is that what really happened? Oh, you can observe the mind. In fact, one does it all the time. And then one identifies with it, unfortunately. That's what happens. When you say, I am restless, what do you mean to say? My mind, I am the observer of restlessness of my mind. I am angry. I am the observer. I am observing some strange feelings happening in the body and strange hot-headedness. That's why it's called hot-headed. Strange heat coming. And if I don't stop, looks like lava will start pouring out of this chakra over here. And so therefore, this looks like anger. And then or lava will start coming out of the bark. Hot, molten words that will definitely, solidify in someone else's heart. Will petrify them literally and figuratively, which cannot be taken back. And therefore, if the observer is alive and well and kicking and not come under the sway of the anger, has not been overpowered by the anger, at this time the observer can say, let's just quietly push off from this scenario, let's not say anything so that we don't regret it later. Later on we'll come back after, screaming in some wilderness. That's what ashrams are good for. A lot of land is there. You can go and yell in the woods, you know. You can go and scream, and you can just have some quiet time, take a walk, jump up and down, you know, kick some, stones and sticks, kick some trees, do something. That's that's a harmless venting out. And when that venting out, when the pressure cooker, that safety valve is finished, and then it becomes calm again, then you say, oh, I really lost it yesterday, didn't I? Who is this I? The unafflicted I is able to say, I lost it. What is the it? The mind. I lost my mind. I took leave of my senses. This is what it is. These terms which we normally use show that there is such a status called the observer, and the observer is neither born nor is dead, nor comes into the spell of any of the bodily, the bodily afflictions or mental ailments. Better put it the other way. Bodily ailments and mental afflictions. It's immune to that. Then why does it experience it? It experiences everything without being anything, because it is the truth, it's the content of all experiences. It gives it lends its being to all experiences. This is what the I is, without taking them on as part of its self-definition. This is what the I is. And so this I is never born. When was it born? When is the birthday of Atma? Oh, long, long ago. No. That's why it says in the Chandogya Upanishad, what does it say? Sadeva idamagre asit. Before all this was born, there was one thing that was unborn, that was always there. What is that? Sat is I. Sat, which is I. I was there. And then when all this, let's say the universe comes to an end, where does it go? Where does it go? Huh? Where does the universe go? Yeah, resolves back into this I, like even your own dream. The dream comes from your own memory, whether it's an in-class dream or out-of-class dream. The dream comes as a result of your own desires and knowledge and memory. These are the raw materials of the dream. Your own knowledge. What you know only you can dream. You project the dream and you give yourself a body. You populate the whole dream. In fact, if you dream of overpopulation, oh my God, so many people in this teeming, millions of people. Who are all these people? You. In the dream, it's all you. You are upholding their bodies. You are upholding everything. And then alarm rings. What happens to the dream? It has to quickly fold up. Like a folding something, chair, table. It folds up. It's a folding thing. It has to quickly fold up. Where? In that same knowledge base, in that same memory collection. Back to that it goes. Never do you wake up with the residues of your dreams scattered around you, including the friends that you dreamed of, very irate. How am I going to get to work now? Why did you have to dream of me yesterday? Never happens. Never happens. Why? Because that's not what happens. The dream is just, the dream is just having to do with you, your own fears and desires. If you dream that your significant other, you see in the dream, your significant other having coffee with someone else, After you wake up, you cannot give them one, like, how dare you do this to me? Why? Because it's your own fear morphed into the dream. And the dream is withdrawn as elegantly and painlessly and effortlessly as it was projected. So too this I, projects this whole universe, sustains it also with its very being. And what is this being? A conscious being, all knowledge, all might, everything, limitless. That's why there are limitless variations, manifestations. And then let's say, time's up for the universe to pack up. In a second, just like the dream, it will fold up, leaving behind what? Nothing?
Well,
I. Leaving behind I. What is this I? Consciousness. Out of this I, sustained by this I, back to the I. And this I, no beginning, no end, simply is. And the truth of everything that is I. So, na jayate, na mriyate va kadachit. And then very intriguing, it says, na ayam bhutva. Ayam na ayam bhutva abhavita. Na ayam bhutva abhavita. Meaning that it's not something that is going to come into being and then later on disappear. Nor is it, because there is a variation here. Pathantara means there is a different kind of a thing that can be different interpretation. Bhutva abhavita or abhutva bhavita. Yeah. It's not that out of nothing it came into being, or it's not that having come into being then it goes to nothingness. No such possibility is there. Va or, the various possibilities. Va means or, are mentioned. And then na bhuyaha, and again means again and again it doesn't do this. And this is this is not a possibility at all. And then so this is again the teaching here in the new meter. I told you yesterday, whenever something important is there, it's in this meter. And you reminded me that there are other verses in this meter earlier, part of Arjuna's lament. But here is the first verse in the teaching, so that's why it is celebrated and remarked upon. And the other verses in Arjuna's lament also, they are important because he is becoming a student. That's why they are in the meter. He says, please teach me those 3 verses, whose climax, which culminate in him stating his studentship, is what is talked about there. And then here we have, this particular meter which talks about the Atma. Again, when the teaching begins in this, it begins with a negative particle. Na, there the negative particle was here it is na, same. Na jayate. Interesting. Because why we begin on a negative note? Because we have to get rid of all these things that one doesn't want. One wants to get rid of all these things. And therefore, in keeping with the universal human want of discovering a self that is acceptable, the non-accepting, the finite self, the non-infinite, the non-accepting, the judging, and the the self subject to sorrow, fear is being negated in these things. And when janma and marana, death and birth, are both negated, what else? What are other things are negated for the I? What happens in between birth and death? Jara. Jara is geriatry. Same root verb. Jara means what? Jara. What else? Vyadhi. Vyadhi. Just like it sounds, not a very nice thing to have. Vyadhi. sickness, ailments. By the time, one is 40, what happens? Up till 40, everything is okay. After that, 1/4 pills, potions, lotions, 3/4 food, and 60, half and half. Not what you buy half and half. That's not what, that you can't even look at, can't even digest. We're not talking of half and half. We are talking of half pills and decoctions to keep the body going and half food. 50, 60. When 80, what? 3/4 pills, potions and lotions and 1/4 food. Then 100, if one is still around, if the body is still hanging out. Yeah. Then what? All,
Three more slices.
All of it will be just, one is on a feeding tube. One may as well be on a feeding tube. Because at 100, one cannot taste anything. What do you taste? Nothing. You can't see what you're eating. You certainly cannot smell, which is a major put off. Can't see, can't smell. Something has to go in. May as well be on a tube. Glug, 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 finished, done. And so this is how it is. So, the moment, half the age is over, in midlife. In midlife, what happens? So many things, the vyadhi, the old age, etc., starts to show very intimately in the area of food. Because that's the closest one is to life. This is where one derives joy. Some joy is there in food. Even the pickiest eater has fun being picky. Let's see how many people I can bother today. It's fun. No, can't eat this. No, won't eat that. I want the dressing, but on the side. And then all these things. I want yogurt, but can it be free of lactose? I want acidophilus, but I can't have it in the yogurt. Can I have it in the pill? All these kinds of things. This is the first way it shows up. It disrupts whatever one can eat, whatever one can digest. No wonder Ayurveda says that all ailments begin here with the digestive system. And so jara, vyadhi, dukkha, everything sandwiched in between birth and death, which are seen as bookends, is what is called 6 kinds of modifications. What are they? Jayate is born. And then vinashyati we have seen, that's also there. In between, asti survives birth. That's a big thing, to survive birth. That's why the first birthday of every child is celebrated very grandly. Survived one whole year. Not easy. Especially with this kind of parenting, it has survived. It's a big celebration. Then what? Then vardhate, grows. And then groans. After growing, then you have to put an N there. First it's grows, then it's all grown, and then it starts to grows, vardhate. And then blossoms, viparinamate, becomes capable of sustaining life, becomes capable of reproducing. Up till now it's sounding good, yes. That was the last point. Apakshiyate, starts to not digest even basic fluids. Apakshiyate, even the thin water on top of the rice, cooked rice, cannot be digested. What is it called? Kanji. Even kanji cannot digest, means this is serious. Apakshiyate. And then what? Vinashyati. This is the 6-fold modifications. And when you start with na jayate mriyate, that means all these 6-fold vikriyas, vikaras, same as vikriya, vikara. Vikara masculine, vikriya feminine. So these vikriyas for the atma, for the I, are negated. When these two are negated, everything is negated. But then if everything is negative, then what is this I? That we'll see tomorrow, because the second line is not just negative, it's also positive. We'll see what it has to say. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. I had made a sankalpa.
40 and 30.
Yeah.